Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome here to the Rockingham Speedway. We apologize for technical issues we have with our producer, but we should be back for you guys. We're working the caution right now and had a bit of an interesting development happening up front. Your leader, Tanner Sharp, actually self-spun out of turn number 4. Appears he got too much on the apron and just kind of lost the car. He's now back in, I believe, the 11th position right now, but your leader is Alan Capers. He was also the pole sitter of tonight's event, setting a blistering fast lap time of 23.582, about 2.5 tenths quicker than anyone else in the field. But we're about to go green here once again, working lap number 37 of a 125 lap event, trying to condense this as much as I can because I have a lot to catch up with. But side by side in turn number 1 and 2 with AJ Digby is Alan Capers. He's on the bottom side, and Digby, it looks like Capers got loose off turn number 2. Almost got that car in the inside wall. Not much space on that end of the speedway. And we have somebody sideways in the back of the pack. Looks like Nick Till is around and Billy Wise around as well. And Billy Wise looks like he got in the wall pretty hard. Definitely got the worst end of that one. That car is quite heavily damaged. He's going to have to take a fast repair on that. You see scuff marks all over it. And it doesn't even look like it's driving straight right now. So he was involved in an accident earlier on in the event, and definitely is not going to be definitely not going to want to have to take another fast repair at this stage in the race, but definitely it looks to be that way. But he was your outside pole sitter, so real quickly before we get too far in here on this caution, we just want to kind of go through the field just a little bit while we work at this caution. Actually, we'll wait till after pit stops happen, and we'll try to give you guys a field rundown. And once again, apologize for the technical issues. We did miss the first part of this race, and there was some action that went on that was pretty exciting. But definitely, this is a track that does always produce good racing. Of course, nestled right in between Charlotte and Fayetteville is this Rockingham Speedway, and unfortunately not used by the real NASCAR series anymore, but we do have it here on iRacing. We're on board right now with your pole sitter, Alan Capers. He's been one of the fastest cars all day, and definitely has shown he has the speed to win this event if he can keep those tires under him. This is a track that is very, very, very hard on tires. It's notorious for its tire usage, and really the successful drivers are going to be the ones that can keep those tires on the car the longest. And I don't believe we're going to see any pit stops under this caution, or else we might have already seen them, unless I'm mistaken, which looks like I'm not. So I think most of the drivers electing to stay out and keep their track position at this stage in the race. Not much of a run from last caution to this one, just a couple laps, so it's not going to be too incredibly important. But let's go through the field right now just a little bit. Your leader right now, AJ Digby, he started in 4th place, has kind of been up there all day, but really he inherited the lead through some luck with the caution of Tanner Sharp spinning out. He was running in 2nd when that happened. Kevin Pasquich started in 8th position. Hasn't made a lot of noise all day, but he is up there in the 2nd position where he needs to be. Alan Capers in 3rd is your pole sitter. Has been one of the fastest cars all night long. And like we were saying, just needs to keep the tires on that car, and he definitely has the speed to win. Kyle Zimmer, probably about the 2nd fastest car here. He's been up there fighting with Alan Capers for the lead all night. Has himself back in the pack just a little bit. Currently in the 4th position, and definitely is doing exactly what he needs to do to get another win on the series. Of course, he was the winner at Martinsville a couple weeks ago, and is the points leader, I believe, in the series as well. So he's definitely going to want to do that. In 5th place, Fernando Matos, I believe he was very confident about his chances before the race, said he was going to want to win this race, and we'll see if he can make true on that promise. Tanner Sharp was your leader a few cautions ago, but spun out from the lead like we said when we came back. Brian Lowhead started in 14th position, shotgun on the field. He's currently running 7th. Christopher Burge started in 7th, currently running 8th. Tom Johnson started in 11th, running 9th. Billy Wise, another car to look out for, has been very fast all night, and has himself back in the pack because he was in the last caution, got himself turned around and into the wall, but he is a very fast car, so definitely look out for that number 32 machine. Nate Catilla running in 11th position right now, started in 9th. He was also involved in the last caution. Thomas Wise, 2 laps down on the field. Johnny Berardi, 4 laps down. And Dave Wilson did not start tonight's event for unbeknownst reason to us. So we're going to have to go up and check on that because he did make a qualifying attempt. Posted 23.8 in qualifying, I believe, about 5th quickest. So just left the track and did not take tonight's event. But we're going through turns number 3 and 4 right now, side by side, ready for the restart. Flagman has the green flag in his hand. We'll wait for that pace car to make that hard left turn off, and it does right there indeed. So the field in the hands of AJ Digby, currently your leader. He is your only 2-time winner on the series in the K&N series in SimPossible. So he'll see if he can make that 3 tonight. Definitely off to a good start right now on that bottom side of the track. That is the preferred route through 1 and 2, definitely. And ooh, someone in the wall. Looks like 7 in the wall, and he's upside down on the backstretch. Huge wreck. And I think Tanner Sharp got a piece of that. Kyle Zimmer got a piece of that. Some other cars on the roof as well. Looks like the 98 of Christopher Bird, I think he was involved as well. He might have been one of the cars on his roof. We're going to have to go back and replay and watch it and see what happened. It definitely all started with the 7 car of Kevin Pasquich. He got tight off turn number 2, and you see it just all carnage ensued from there. Just absolute chaos there, and a couple cars flipping down that backstretch, and definitely the worst of that's going to be the 7 of Kevin Pasquich. He had to take a tow back to the pits because that car landed on its roof, so he's going to be going several laps down from that. So a shame to see that. And we're going to have to check on Tanner Sharp as well. He got a pretty big lick from that. I believe his right front might be significantly damaged. You definitely don't want that at a track like this. It's only a mile long, but definitely aerodynamics are a key here. Fernando Matos involved as well. We're going to ride on board with him, and yeah, he definitely got pitched in the wall, and upside down he goes. Our gyro cam right there doing overtime work. Looks like the 25 of Kyle Zimmer smoking heavily on the backstretch as well. Has a lot of damage on that car. He stopped on the backstretch for... It's like we're all waiting for the pace car to catch the field. Actually, the pace car is not leaving its stall on pit road, so I'm not sure what is going on. That's everybody has stopped over in turns 3 and 4. We might have to go past the pace, or we might have to pass the start-finish line for that pace car to catch the field, or maybe another iRacing glitch is in play right now. We're going to see if the pace car will move in about just a second. Leader has passed the start-finish line, so that pace car should be picking up the leader right now, but it is not, and I'm honestly not sure why that is, but either way, we might have a situation on our hands here. But 44 laps in tonight's 125 lap event, so we're about just about a third of the way through the event. We'll see if the pace car will actually come out, because I don't think that if that pace car decides to sit there all day, it's going to be too well for this race hopes, and I'm honestly not sure about that. I don't think I've seen that issue on iRacing in a long time. I do remember it was a thing back in the day, but I would have thought they would have fixed it by now. But either way, maybe pace laps will count regardless of whether that pace car sits or not. It definitely is not looking to move anywhere at the moment, so definitely a bit of a situation on our hands, but we're going to do our best to try to get back to green flag racing. Hopefully we can get that in just a moment. I do know with the last update that iRacing rolled out just a few weeks ago, I know that race control has more options to do with green flags and such, and caution flags. So hopefully, if worse comes to worse, maybe race control can manually throw the green flag or something like that. Because I would hate to see this race have to get delayed or something like that because of a pace car glitch like that. It looks like the whole field coming down pit road right now, led by AJ Digby. Going to come down and get some tires on those machines. Of course, 4 tires and fuel always at this racetrack. You would be quite suicidal taking 2, because that would absolutely make the car drive really undrivable. So it's something that all these drivers are going to have to take every single time is 4 tires. This track is just too abrasive on tires, and it's too big of a difference between new tires and old tires to try to make that work at all. I think Kyle Zimmer had to take a tow. I think that engine might have expired as these cars were coming down pit road, or making laps around the racetrack as that pace car is still sitting in its stall. So we'll have to see on that. I might actually try to get a word with Jeff here on the issue at hand. If we can drag him down for just a moment here. I'll see if I can find him, but we'll ask him what's going up and what if this race can go back to green flag. Hey Jeff, can we get a quick word with you up in the booth? Might have the wrong Jeff Schmidt here. Let's see if we can get the other one in here. Hey Jeff, can we get a quick word with you up in the booth?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we see the situation going on with the pace car. Do you know what caused that, or what's up with that?
No. Sitting here trying to figure out what we can do here. There's nothing we can do. It's keeping us at let the pace car pass, but the pace car's not moving. So we might have to exit this session and restart another one with the remaining laps. That's the only thing that I can think of to fix this at this point.
All right, Jeff. Thank you for talking with us.
Yep, no problem.
All right. Well, that seems like it's a pretty worst case scenario right now. The pace car is not going to move, it seems, and this race is not going to go back green as it is. So we might have to have a bit of another delay with the race. But either way, the race definitely will go on one way or another if the session has to be restarted or whatnot. So we'll see what happens with that. But all these drivers just making laps around the racetrack at pace speed right now with no pace car. About a solid 35 miles an hour for everyone on the field. So a bit of a strange situation here. First for, I believe, 3YTV and the SimPossible Racing League, and for me personally, honestly. So just I guess stay tuned, everyone. We'll see what we can get rolling up here. And I do believe that this race might be concluding its first part right now. It looks like everybody's stopping on the apron in turn 3, and everybody is backing out back to the pit road. We might have to go ahead and delay this race. We'll call it a rain delay, weather delay, whatever you want to call it, a pace car delay, and see if we can get you back here in just a moment. All right, we're back here at Rockingham. Official word from race control is that we are going to restart the race with the remaining laps to go. So I believe about 60 laps to go when we come back here in just a moment here. So a bit of a quiet track right now. But in the meantime, we'll see if we can get some interviews with the drivers, kind of see what's going on here. I got AJ Digby. He's pulled himself into the broadcast waiting room, so I guess we'll talk with him first. Hey, AJ Digby, you got a quick moment to give a word with us?
Yeah, there's nothing else going on, so I figured I'd hop here.
All right, man. Well, you were the leader when all that mess happened with iRacing. Not sure what the hell is going on there, but I'm sure you're about as confused as we are here. But just kind of tell us how the track's feeling with you, and kind of just tell us what you kind of noticed when the race kind of I don't even know what it did.
Yeah, well, track's a little slick, a little rough. Definitely turn two coming out of that is definitely the hardest. You're seeing a lot of people at the outside wall there. But I'm pleasantly surprised. We've done a lot better than we did in practice, and I think people are just trying to run a little bit more conservatively, knowing you had to save some faster pairs because you can't use them all right away. So I've been lucky that I've been able to stay off the wall other than maybe once, which is pretty good. And even then, I was able to save it, just make it a light tap. But I got a quick car, so had just gotten it out towards the front there and was hoping to stay out there. But what appeared to happen is when the caution came out, the pace car never got the word to come out. It was telling us to let the pace car by, but the pace car never came by. So then we all just slowly drove a lap, hoping it would maybe come out eventually, and then we drove through pit road. Maybe there's some sort of weird glitch bug that driving through pit road would have saved it, but it didn't. So we had no pace car that came out to pace us, so therefore we couldn't go anywhere from the pacing screen. It wasn't something admin controls, nothing could be done fix it. So word is that we're just going to pop open a new session with the remaining laps left. Hopefully we can reset the order that we're at, but I have no idea for sure how setting up a session like that works. So we'll see. But regardless, hopefully we'll be able to get a session popped up and get the race finished.
All right, man. Well, it's pretty intuitive or pretty informative to know that. Of course, all we saw was the pace car just sitting there, and we don't know if he was just on strike or whatever the hell happened. But either way, going to go give him his pink slip after this event for not doing his job. But thank you very much for talking with us, AJ. And we know you want to go out there and run, up in the 150s and not around at 35 miles an hour. So we'll let you go back and hopefully we'll get the session up as soon as possible. See if we can get a word with someone else up in the booth. I'll get see if I can get Tanner Sharp if he's up there somewhere. I actually don't see him right now, so he might have disconnected for the time being. And actually, let's get Billy Wise in here for a quick word. Hey, Billy Wise, you got a moment to give us a quick word up in the booth?
Yeah.
All right, man. Well, you stood second tonight. Looks like you have a very fast car out there. Got in some trouble a few times, so you find yourself back in the pack. So just kind of tell us how the track's feeling with you and what you're going to do to try to get your track position back when we get back on here.
Well, the track, I think, feels awesome. It's a lot of fun. I haven't been here that often. I think we did a practice race here or just a fun race back a while ago, but the car feels good. It feels fast, and it's kind of fun out there because there's been some of the faster guys have been in the front, they've been in the back, so we've all just been switching spots, and it's a lot of fun out there. And from what I think, when we get this new one started, we're just going to go ahead and not even qualify. We're just going to line them up and go finish it out. So however we start from there, we'll see what happens.
All right, man. Well, definitely looks like you're pretty quick out there. If you can stay out of the wall and keep that car in one piece, I think you definitely have a shot to win this one. So good luck the rest of the event when we get this one started up. Thanks for talking with us.
Yeah, man, I'm looking forward to it. We're going to try to keep it clean.
All right, see if we can get someone else up in here real quick. Fine. All right, Chris, I saw you in the waiting room, and so you got a quick moment for a word with us up in the booth?
Yeah, I do. Well, the track, just to let you guys know, the track is so bumpy around the whole track. Oh, and it is hard to pass over the outside. I have passed Alan Capers on the practice from the outside, and it was tough. And then the other thing too I'd like to say is I think we scared the pace car, so he didn't want to come out to have fun with us.
Yeah, we were talking about giving that pace car driver his slip after tonight's event because he's definitely not doing his job, just sitting there on pit road and kind of lollygagging or whatever you want to call it. But Either way, you said the track was bumpy, which is yeah, you can see the cars kind of swallow over those bumps, or wallow, I guess would be the better term, on the, especially with these K&N cars. They have the not super stiff suspension like we see on the Cup cars nowadays, so you can definitely see the pitch attitude change.
Yeah.
But just want to kind of ask you, how's the track feeling with you, like grip wise, weather wise? How's it feeling out there?
Well, I'm fine. I got loose at the turn 2. I just got a lot. Just got a little loose. Just tapped the wall a little bit on my rear end. I kind of lost it there. There was no caution because I was at the very back. And then somehow there was another caution with someone else. I was having a little joke with Johnny because he blew an engine. I said, "Oh, you put oil over the track," and that's why I lost control. But it's just a little fun joke around. We're having fun.
Always glad to hear that, Chris. Well, very much for talking with us. It looks like this new session is up, so we'll try to get maybe one more interview before we get back going here. But good luck the rest of the race. I believe 60-something laps to go, and I think we saw you on your roof in that last accident, if I'm not mistaken. So
Yes, I did. Trying to avoid the other wreck I had, and I kind of got Fiando kind of squeezed me in, and I hit the wall, and that was it. I was flipping up and down, but it's okay. We're having fun.
All right, man. We'll try to keep those rubbers down on the racetrack. That's generally how the car goes quicker, just a little bit. But either way, thank you so much for talking with us, and good luck the rest of the race.
Thank you very much, and hopefully we get in the pole here.
The first ever 3-wide TV rain delay, quote unquote. So give a chance to give us some interviews. We'll see how much longer we have in this session before we get back going green or whatever. Actually, I believe we're both loading in right now, so that's why we have a black screen for you guys. Once again, we want to apologize for all the technical issues from starting the race a little bit late due to an issue on the producer's end, as well as this. So, you know, it's nothing in our control. It's just what happens with technology, and it's going to happen every now and again. But for all you that are still sticking around to watch, thank you very much. That is pretty awesome, and appreciate it very much. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Rockingham Two-Way. We are coming through turns 3 and 4 right now for the restart, the hard reset of the race, if you will. 50 laps to go, and on the pole, Alan Capers. We randomized the grid, and we're going to re-rack and restack them. Some wheel spin for the 25 of Kyle Zimmer. He's in the wall hard. It's like we have a big wreck already, and definitely not what you want to see with the race being restarted like this, and hopefully that does not the pace car moving out on pit road. Yes, it is, so we will be able to get back going green here once again. We'll see if we can get a replay there. It looks like the 25 of Kyle Zimmer just never got the rear tires hooked up on the restart. And unfortunately, AJ Digby involved as well. A lot of damage to that machine. He might be a lap down, actually. I see him trapped behind the pace car, so we'll have to see if he can get his lap back or whatever, but definitely not a good start to this reset of the race. But like we said, 50 laps in this event, in this little reset of the first race. Had a bit of a technical issue that prevented us from restarting last time, so we're going to go and run the rest of the race here in a new session, and had a randomized grid with Alan Capers, who was your original pole sitter from the first race. He started on the pole for this one as well. Kyle Zimmer, I believe, qualified second in that one as well. So a bit of the same grid for the most part, probably some differences here and there, but either way, these drivers happy to get back going once again, and that's probably all that matters to them right now. We do have some of the drivers and the league owner and official in the chat. AJ Digby saying no pace car, no green flag. Jeff Schmidt said he was talking about the new session that we were starting. We also have Nate Catilla in there with his Roll Film Productions account. That is his personal company, and it's I believe what is on his car for a sponsor for other series. Of course, he's running a Dodge sponsored car, Bill Elliott's 03 Indianapolis Brickyard special car right now. Really cool car that it is, but either way, gonna be doing a couple laps of pacing here for the first caution of the restarted race. It's like AJ Digby actually not electing to take a fast repair on that machine, even though it is quite heavily damaged on the front. A lot of damage. I can see the front valence and the nose is all kicked up on that thing, and that's definitely going to hurt the handling of his car if he does not come fix that. But I believe all these drivers should have 4 fresh fast repairs. Yes, they do. So if you were already a couple through in the last event, you kind of got a lucky break having 4 one for this restart and driving somewhat normally, but I believe pace car lights should be going out here and when we cross the line, and yes, they do. So we're going to be going green in just about a minute time. Working lap number 5, so about 45 laps to go here. And those 2 drivers on the front row right now, Alan Capers and Chris Roberge, we actually got a chance to talk to one of those, Chris Roberge, saying the track is quite tough right now, quite bumpy, but he's having a good time with it. That's we also got a chance to talk to Billy Wise just a few minutes ago, said the same thing. Billy Wise has a very fast car tonight. Was the outside pole sitter in the first race next to Alan Capers, and definitely has showed a lot of speed, led a couple laps here and there, and definitely has the speed to win if he can keep that car out of the wall. And really, a lot of drivers here do have the speed to win if they can keep it out of the wall as well. So we'll see what happens here on this restart. Pace car is going to be looking to make that hard left turn on to pit road right there. Yes, it does. Field in the hands of Alan Capers once again, and the flag man throwing the green flag out. And it looks like a much cleaner restart for everybody. Not much wheel spin in the back of the pack. I see Nate Cotillo was able to get a very good restart. Got around 3 wide on the outside. Ooh, bit of a sideways moment for Chris Roberge in turn number 2. See if he can keep it down on the apron and not come up back in traffic. Yes, he does. So very good move there for him to not cause a bigger incident, but that does give a big lead to Alan Capers, followed by Billy Wise, who we're talking about. Those might be the 2 fastest cars here at the Rockingham Speedway tonight. Those were the 1 and 2 starters of the first race, and definitely are running 1 and 2 once again. There's some contact back in the pack. Looks like Thomas Wise got in the wall, and that number 1 car got very high up on the track in turns 1 and 2. We have 1 car on the apron sideways. Nate Cotillo in the 4. Absolutely Tokyo drifting it, but it was able to save the car somehow. A good piece of driving for him. I don't know how he did that, but either way, he did save the car, and he is still going straight. So he will live to fight another day in that 4 car. Battle for the 4th position. Chris Roberge going around. Excuse me, that was for the 6th position. Chris Roberge around Thomas Wise in turn 1. Now Thomas is under fire from AJ Digby in turn 3. He's going to take it pretty easily, and Kyle Zimmer is going to follow him through. So that number 1 car not handling to Thomas's liking right now, falling back like a rock. So somebody in the wall pretty hard up in the front. I believe that was AJ Digby. So yeah, that's the car that we were talking about is going to be handling pretty poorly right now. That front end is all beat up. It does not look anything like a race car should be. Thomas Wise in the wall as well, and we have a caution on the racetrack. Not sure where the caution is yet. I believe it might have been with the 14 of AJ Digby. I saw him a little bit slow on the racetrack. He is on the apron right now, coming to pit road immediately. I believe pit road is closed right now, so he's probably just thinking, I'm done with this car. I'm going to come fix it right now, even if it gives me a end of the longest line penalty. But we're going to have to see what happened here on replay if we can get one. And pace car coming out on the track once again, so good to see that. We're going to be looking to see if that's the case now that we saw that it might not be every time in the last session. But don't think we have a replay just yet for anyone. I'm actually not sure what the caution was for, honestly, so I guess we're going to have to be confused together for the time being. But either way, the caution is out, and caution number 2 of the restarted race. Field coming down pit road now, led by Alan Capers, and it looks like most of the field going to elect to come down pit road. Certainly the top 3 drivers, as well as Kyle Zimmer. He was in the accident, and Thomas Wise electing to come down pit road. But that does leave a couple that did stay out. 66 of Brian Lowhead, who is, I believe, at the tail end of the lead lap, electing to stay out. Fernando Matos in the 17 staying out as well. Chris Roberge, who we saw make a couple positions up on the last restart. He's electing to stay out, so I think he should be your 2nd place starter. And we have a retirement from tonight's event. AJ Digby electing to retire, or actually he's back now, so I'm not sure what's going on there. Might be having some issues with something, but he backed out of the session and came back, so might have had some issues with equipment or something like that. So he's going to lose about 2 laps on this caution right here. And definitely unfortunate to see that at this stage in the race, but with the way the cautions are going, I can't see why he wouldn't be able to get those back pretty quickly. Pace car lights out once again. It looks like AJ Digby has elected to back out of the session once again, so I'm not sure what has gone on there, but that definitely is a shame. He was your leader at the time of the restart in the last race, so I'm not sure what went on there, but either way, that is a shame for that 14 car. Had a chance, very good chance tonight to get win number 3 on the season. He is your only multi-time winner in the K&N side of the split series here at SimPossible Racing League, so I don't think he's going to be able to get that tonight if he is indeed retired from the event. We'll see if we can get a word with him later on, or if he decides to come and chat and tell us what is up. But either way, we are doubled up for the restart. Your leader, Fernando Matos, with Christopher Burge in that number 98 machine on the outside. Billy Wise and Kevin Paskowicz. Let's see if everybody can get a clean restart. Fernando did not get going very well at all. That rear end did not hook up, and Billy Wise and Kyle Zimmer had to check up for him big time. That caused a bit of a stack up, but luckily no caution out. No caution out for that. But actually, as I say that, caution is out once again. Number 13 of Alan Capers. Looks like he got turned around in turn number 1. We'll see if we can get a replay to see what happened there. See there, Nick Tilla also having some issues. So it might have started with those 2 drivers right there. You see Nick Tilla, got a bit of a punt from behind from Alan Capers, and Nick Tilla, the out-of-control car, kind of just punting them both out of the way. So really this race not going too well for some of the better cars of the last race. Alan Capers, of course, your pole sitter for both races, and AJ Digby, the leader at the time of the restart, having issues. So definitely not forgot what I was going to say there, so we're just going to go ahead and forget that thought right there. But while we work this caution, we're going to go to break real quick, and want to see if we can get another voice in the booth, maybe. Oh, did you see on the chat, AJ said he can't race anymore, but he said he can come in the booth. If that's good with you. Are we cold? All right, welcome back to the Rockingham Speedway, gentlemen. Of course, we didn't leave, but we did leave somewhat. Bit of a development here up in the booth. We've got AJ Digby, who has had to retire from the event. We'll go into that in just a moment, but green flag is out once again. Your leader was the number 98 of Christopher Burge, I believe, but Kevin Paskowicz got a better restart on the outside line, but he's coming back here on the bottom side to get by that 7 car. We'll see if he can make the move into turn number 3, and we have a caution once again on the racetrack. So there's a big wreck down on the backstretch. A couple of cars involved there, I believe 3, Thomas Wise, Johnny Berardi, and Brian Lowhead all involved, I see. So we'll have to see what happened on the replay here in just a moment, but either way, I'm gonna kind of introduce AJ in the booth here for give a good little guess a good moment to do that. So you kind of told us what happened already, but it seems like a bunch of issues going on with both races tonight, and so that kind of spelled the end to your night.
Yeah, iRacing just appears to have a bunch of technical issues tonight. So obviously we had the first one with the no pace car, and then we got into the second one and just got a little bit dinged up on the restart, but for some reason it let half of the cars pass the race car, half of them not. So then we were trying to get wave arounds and things like that to get people back onto the right lap, and finally when I got waved around, it was just about to go green, so I couldn't actually get my car repaired, and then my engine blew. And then when I pulled into my pit box, I just missed my pit box with the blown engine. It's kind of just gotta hit the brakes and guess, and I can't reverse or drive any forward. And iRacing didn't let me tow either, so my car is completely in a place where I could get a fast repair, but I am 3 inches or so past my pit box and no way of getting back to it. So I am officially retired from this race, and with all of the iRacing glitches and everything, that's not too shocking, I guess. But now I'm up here and just gonna hang out a little bit.
Well, I would say it is unfortunate that you are out of the race. Of course, leading at the restart, you were.
AJ Digby's luck, right?
Yeah, definitely some luck. Either way, you can have some fun up here in the booth. We got some free refreshments, hopefully, and if Carlos actually bought them this time, probably not, because every week I always ask for some beer and he says no.
We do have this like Charlie and the Chocolate Factory where you can just send it through the TV to me, right?
Yeah, I think we can work that out here pretty soon. I think Carlos has been working on that one too for a while.
Yeah, it appeared on that last question there that Thomas just kind of got up out of the groove. What's been kind of happening to most of the cars tonight, just bounced off the wall, got loose in front of half the field, and really nothing you can do if you're the back half of the field. Some guys were able to get by somehow, but some good moves to get by, but that's just been the story of the night, I guess, is this second session's a little bit hotter than the one that we were in for the first session as well, so a little bit of an adjustment, and it's probably not going as smoothly as one had hoped without having caution and or practice and qualifying to kind of hammer that down. So drivers are going to be a little bit more pushy out of 2 than they were used to, and it's definitely hurting them here at the start of this session.
Yeah, I took a couple of laps for the session began just to get a feel of the track, and it seems like you know, knowing Rockingham, this is one of my favorite tracks. It seems like turn 2 is probably the calamity corner tonight, just because the track falls away so much going through that turns 1 and 2, and you just if you get up in that wall, really it can kind of spell disaster for everybody behind you, because you slow down so much and nobody else behind you can get out of the way.
Yeah, I definitely like Rockingham. It's a place that my cousin has always loved, and I was always pretty good. Not always a great place, but I showed that I had the pace early on. I like this place, and it's a bumpy track, but it's real challenging, real difficult, and makes it for a lot of fun. So these drivers are it's real pushy, especially with the heat right now on the track off of 2, and that wall comes up a lot quicker than you think with the camber just kind of falling off there, and it's a completely different corner in 3 and 4. Much more open to exit 3 and 4, so that's why you're not really seeing any issues out of 4 unless you get down on the apron.
Absolutely, and we did see that with Tanner Sharp earlier on in the first race. He got out on that apron and spun out from the lead, so definitely seeing issues on both ends of the speedway. Pace car off once again, field in the hands of that number 7 of Kevin Paskowicz. A fantastic restart for that car. He gets off to about a 3-car length advantage right off the bat in turn number 1. Side-by-side battle for second with Chris Roberge and Fernando Matos. Fernando Matos on the inside line. It's like he has a great run. He's going to take the spot easily down the backstretch. And we heard Fernando Matos say early on the pre-race this is going to be his first win of the SimPossible Race League. He was pretty ecstatic about his chances here. Gets very close to that wall off turn number 4, but stays out of it. And I think that number 98, Chris Roberge, almost in contact there in turn number 1 with him and the 17. Now he's under fire from Kyle Zimmer. Zimmer on the apron a little bit. You don't want to do that. That will decamber the car and it will unsettle it mightily. So I think we are seeing that the cars spread out into single file once again for about the first 6 spots, all the way back to Nate Catilla. He is in 6th position right now. We saw him in trouble a little bit earlier. It looks like the field kind of settled down for a moment, AJ. I think these restarts are pretty crazy.
Yeah, the restarts are definitely a little bit crazy. We got off to a pretty clean one here this time. Cars are all single file right now. Ones to look out for. I mean, obviously you said Fernando Matos looks fast. Kevin has always been good on the K&N car, and Alan Capers has also had a really fast car and just kind of been put back in the field a little bit.
Trouble.
Kyle Zimmer comes up into Chris Roberge a little bit, I think, but I have to go back on that one. I was just about to say, Kyle always comes in strong at the end and wait for him to make some moves.
Yeah, definitely. That 98 Chris Roberge has been one that has been in trouble multiple times in both races, I believe, and I think just not enough room there in turn 1 with that 98 and 25 together, and unfortunately Roberge got the worst end of that. I don't believe there's a lot of damage on that car. The front end is a little bit banged up, but he might want to go ahead and save his fast repairs the way this race is going, and just kind of, and I know Carlos a bit sad to see that Rooster Teeth machine a little bit hurt on the front end, but it looks like all the damage came from the 25 car hitting him when he spun around, so maybe that car will be a little bit better off than we thought. You never know with the iRacing damage model. You could have a destroyed car and still be fast, and sometimes you can also have no damage visually and your car is just absolutely done. So we'll have to see if everybody comes down pit road, and Kevin Paskowicz leading most of the field down pit road, it seems.
Capers stays out with Lowhead and Cotilla, so interesting for them. Kyle Zimmer's definitely going to want to get this right front repaired. Just looks a little bit damaged, probably won't hurt him too bad, but definitely better to get that fixed.
And one thing we were talking about earlier, AJ, I'm not sure you've ever done this, but we were talking about how coming down pit road here really always means 4 tires and you know, just a normal pit stop like that. You don't ever really want to take 2 here because that could absolutely spell disaster. With the way this track is, with the tire wear and just how it goes, you really would probably end up wrecking in turn 1 taking 2 tires.
Yeah, that was actually something I tested out here during the practice. Usually at every single track, later on I run a little bit of a run and then take right side tires only, just to see what happens, because you never know late in a race when that might be able to, the opportunity might arise where you need to take 2 tires to gain spots, and you want to see not only how the car will feel, but also is it stable enough for a restart, for whatever you need it to do. And this is a track where the tires wear pretty evenly right front or right side to left side. I know at one point in the practice I had run 12 laps and right fronts were at 90 and left fronts were at 91, 92. So not very much of a difference, and not somewhere where you want to take the right side tires only, but hey, you never know. Sometimes crazy times call for crazy measures, and somebody could try it.
Absolutely, and I've been in official races myself where people have tried it, and it usually ends up in a lot of yelling afterwards. Why the hell did you take 2 tires? What the hell were you thinking? The way official racing goes, which is why I don't really do it anymore, because I really can't stand a lot of people, and I pay a lot of money for iRacing, and I don't want to hear them complain all the time, so kind of just removed myself from that. But it looks like the top 2 electing to stay out, Alan Capers and Nate Catilla, and we saw them get into each other earlier on in this restart race. Alan Capers got in the back of Nate Catilla and sent him off for a little bit of a ride on a restart, and ended up damaging both cars. Looks like both of them actually took their fast repairs and are once again ready to go. But these 2 drivers kind of always seem to be near each other on the racetrack, and kind of always seem to be getting into each other too. And you know, it's something you gotta kind of worry about at a track like this where the restarts have been a little bit crazy and whatever. If like, hey, you know, maybe they'll get into each other again, and that would spell disaster for pretty much everyone behind them because there's really not a lot of room on this racetrack.
Yeah, with the restarts being too wide, obviously pushing out of 2 is where we've seen a lot of the action happen. But even just hitting the gas once the green flag comes out, just because some of these guys are trying to restart in first gear, and if you can really get it right in first gear, you can get a good jump, but it's a really quick shift. And I think that's why we saw some of the people sliding around early on, and that's the first track for me of this second session. Was I think Kyle was in first gear and it just got a little bit loose, but it's kind of interesting to see who's going to start in the lower end of second and who's going to be in first, and it could really make the difference between a good jump and a bad jump, like Kevin had that last restart.
Absolutely, and that's actually some very good information to know that first gear is being used by some of these drivers. We'll see how this restart goes. His first 2 cars on old tires, and Alan Capers a little bit wiggly.
Capers was in first gear.
Yeah, a little bit wiggly, but he was able to correct it. I think he's going to have a good run through turn number 2 because Nate Catilla is under fire from the 7 of Kevin Pascovich. He has new tires. He thought about making it 3 wide into turn number 3, but I think he thought better of it. He knows that those fresh tires are going to come into play. Nate Catilla in the wall a little bit. Looks like he was able to get it right, and we saw that 4 car make a lot of crazy Evel Knievel-like maneuvers in both races. Had a couple of slides here and there, and was able to save really all of them. So that number 4 driver is very busy in that cockpit tonight, but Alan Capers able to have a lead still once again. Actually, Kyle Zimmer was able to get around Kevin Pascovich, and you talked about him a little bit earlier on. It was the 7 of Pascovich almost in the wall a little bit. He got very high off turn number 4 and almost lost it. Battle for the lead here, Kyle Zimmer and Alan Capers. And I was going to say, AJ, you were talking about Kyle Zimmer, a driver that really is always coming to life at the end of these races. Even if he looks like he's having a bad day, you can never count the driver with that 25 out.
Yeah, Kyle's very adaptive, very good at kind of just following, going with the flow and seeing what some of the other guys are doing and being able to work his way to make it work for him. And that's why you always see him up front at the end. Ooh, there's trouble. Oh, big trouble up front.
Big trouble, yeah. The driver that we were talking about, and I believe that was a big commentator's curse right there. It's still wrecking Alan Capers. That car is absolutely not okay right now. It's smoking pretty heavily, and I believe Kyle Zimmer is as well. So that is your top 2 right there that got wiped out in pretty much the span of about 1 second. And I think Alan Capers got in the back of Kyle Zimmer. It
appeared to me that the 7 might have gotten into the back of the 13, just different braking points, and it might have just pushed the 13 up into the 25 a little bit, and that sent all 3 of them around.
Yeah, all 3 of those cars were very close together in turn 1, and I believe that Kyle Zimmer took a huge hit. He went head on the wall and absolutely shot off, and I saw the 13 of Capers was on his side. So it might have got up on the roof. I can't really tell on the replay, but big hit for all of those cars.
The 25 electing to wait for the pit road being green, so he doesn't get a penalty for pitting a lap early, which might be dangerous with a little bit of smoke coming out of that car. The 13 takes it right down in for a faster pair.
And I think that engine will make it to pit road, so good to see that. I think I was going to say that you might know about that whole thing with the engine expiring before you can get to pit road. Looks like the 1 having some issue on pit road. I thought he might have been expired, but just kind of got to his pit stall at a weird angle. So he looks like he's going to be all right once he backs up and does a bit of a U-turn there.
Yeah, and speaking of weird angles, this pit road, if you can't really tell from the broadcast, has a really weird left-handed turn there towards the end, and it's just at enough of a turn to where you can't even see your own pit guys because it's right on the roll bar of the left side of the car. If it was a little bit tighter, say like Martinsville, you'd be able to see your pit guys kind of through the window to your left, but right where it's at, you almost have to swing your car at a weird angle just to try to see where your pit guys are on your box.
And that's pretty interesting because as a driver, I'm absolutely against pit stalls being on a curve like Martinsville or Rockingham. I know it kind of has to be that way, but you know, on a track like this, I tend to not qualify sometimes just so I can have a pit stall that's on the straight part of the track. So because I I don't trust myself pitting anyway, and when I have to add an element into the pitting, which would be a curve and anything like that, I really just want to make sure that I won't screw myself over like that. So I know of a couple other drivers that like to do that as well, just to make sure they get those pit stalls on the straight part of the track. But through that whole ordeal, that gave the lead back to Kevin Paskowicz, and he's in that 7 car, of course, staying for good luck, and he kind of had the 2 cars in front of him kind of wipe themselves out, and maybe at the behest of his front nose, and we weren't able to get a really good look at that, but that might have been the case. But either way, he is out at the front, and Fernando Matos, driver who we were talking about earlier, who has a lot of speed in that car, is now 2nd place. Christopher Burge and Billy Wise are your top 4, and Brian Lowhood now up to the 5th position. Even in a race where nobody qualified, he's starting in the back, so always have to look for him to come from the back of the field. Doesn't like to qualify because it's a lot more fun not to, and I tend to agree with that, but that also means you might get in some trouble in the back of the pack.
It is very much an estimated guess, but trying to rewind and look at that last caution, it appears that Nate Cotillo is the first car on fresh tires, possibly Brian Lowhead. Like I said, I didn't get a great view of this, but I'm pretty sure Nate Cotillo is the first one on fresh tires, so look for that 4 car and the cars behind him to be the ones with the fresh tires and making these moves.
And Nate Cotillo, I like to call him the high-sider, because he will take that car up to the wall and just pass cars without even thinking about it. So maybe in turn 1 we'll see a bonsai move from that 4 car. Indeed does have the fresh tires, which yes he does. So definitely going to be a restart to watch here. Pace car is off. Field in the hands of the 7 of Kevin Paskowicz. Once again, we'll see how everybody can get going on those older tires. Kevin Paskowicz gets a fantastic restart, able to gap the field once again. So he definitely has these restarts down to absolute science up here in the front of the pack. And you see right there, AJ, like you said, that number 4 of Cotillo absolutely flying through turns 1 and 2. He has a huge run down the backstretch on the 32 of Billy Wise, backs it off early into the corner, see if he can get back to the gas. And yes, he can. So move him up to the 3rd position already. So I think all he has to do is really chill. He doesn't have to do anything too much. Don't try too hard right now. He knows he has the fresh tires. Everybody in front of him has older tires, and tires mean a lot here. But
big pile back
on the restart. Ooh, that was a big one.
About 6th place back. They were all in a 2x2x2 and just lost, like they got into each other into 1.
Yeah, see Alan Capers involved once again. We'll see what happened here on the replay. It's like just running out of room once again. Maybe a bunch of drivers trying to get all they can because we only have, what, 8 laps to go here. So I think a lot of aggressive driving going on, a lot of really impatient driving. Of course, you can't be patient with 10 laps to go, especially for these 2 drivers, Kyle Zimmer and Alan Capers. They were 2 of the fastest cars in both both sessions, and they both led a lot of laps, and definitely know they have fast cars. But I think time is running out, and you saw the end result right there.
Yeah, and that's part of the issue too. Is sometimes if you get a fast car and you get pushed back towards the back, is you're with people that you're faster than, and it just causes issues. I mean, they looked like they were 3 wide there for a little bit on the front stretch, but just trying to make some moves and get around some people, and sometimes that can happen when you're further back in the back. You just are overdriving the car knowing that you're coming down to it, and that's usually not the way to go. And as Nate Cotillo just shown, that got some fresh tires, made some moves, and I believe he's +3 from that last restart, with the next 2 cars ahead of him with some sort of damage. So he's looking to be in a good position if he can hold it straight to maybe get a podium here.
Absolutely, and I'm thinking that if he can get a good restart, he might be a dark horse to win this race, because those tires are not going to get any better for those cars in front of him, and he's going to have that tire advantage for the remainder of this race. Of course, the top 3 are not going to pit with so few laps to go. Of course, 7 laps to go on the event. So I think if I was Nate Cotillo, I would be feeling pretty good about my chances right now if I can just kind of keep it cool, kind of keep a level head, and not do something incredibly over my head, and maybe just kind of take the race as it comes to me.
Yeah, both Nick Catilla and Billy Wise, both with clean race cars. I'm not sure if Billy has fresher tires, but both of them with cleaner race cars, they're sitting in 4th and 5th and looking to make moves. And you still never know what can happen from behind them as well. And Chris and Fernando might be able to drive through this damage, but you have to think Kevin, with how he's been on these restarts and his fresh, clean car at the front, that he should be able to get a good start and maybe drive away with this thing as well.
Absolutely, and Kevin Paskowicz not able to win on the series yet, and yourself, AJ, you're the only multiple-time winner in this K&N side of things, and we've had different winners each and every race besides the two you won at, USA and Thompson. So Kevin Paskowicz able to get the win, and I believe if any of the top, it's like any of the top 4 able to catch this win, it's going to be a new winner on this side of the split series. So pretty cool to see that, honestly. And you know, that's just so kind of why we run these races, because you never know what's going to happen. I believe there was an old quote from Murray Walker. I'm not sure if you watch F1, but he says, in racing, anything can happen, and it usually does. And that definitely has proven true tonight. Whether it's technical issues, technical difficulties, I was going to kind of try to combine those words, and that was not going to work. Technical issues with iRacing and our side of the things. Really, we've kind of had everything tonight in the broadcast. So if you're still watching, thank you so much. And a shout out from Peter Short watching tonight's event. So good to see you, Peter. Hope you're enjoying what you see, because it definitely is going to be a crazy one here.
We are almost there, Carlos.
And Carlos saying he's going to buy us all alcohol in the booth right after the event, so good to see that. But we're coming through turn 3 and turns 3 and 4. This is 2 turns, so that is plural. Pace car lights are off, so this might be the last green flag we get. And well, we might see green white checkered.
Maybe green white checkered.
Yeah, definitely good to have that on the service. Once again, pace car is pulling off. Field in hands of Kevin Paskowicz, the restart master himself. We'll see if he can get another good restart, and indeed he does. Look at that car go. It looks like it has some traction control or something like that, but look at that 4 car. 4 car has the freshest tires up there in the top 4. He's going way up to the outside of the racetrack, trying to get some fresh track, and I believe he might have the run on the 17 of Matos. Matos puts his car right where Catilla does not need him to be, doing a good job of defensive driving there into turn 3. We'll see if Catilla can get some traction on that car, see if he can make the move on Matos. Yes, he does. Pulls out to the outside going into turn 1, and he's going to have to take his car all the way up to the outside. We have about the lead too as well. Chris Robershane, he wants to be in this battle as well, and he's going to put a fight up with Kevin Paskowicz. So Catilla is not able to get around Matos. So Matos doing a good job of putting that car exactly where he needs to, considering he has a tire disadvantage on that number 4. Catilla,
Here comes
contact.
Chris.
Contact in the back 13 of Alan Capers was...
Contact back in the field, and I believe Chris Roberge got the lead there.
Yes, he did. So good move right there for that number 98 car of Chris Roberge, and we saw some contact with the 13 of Alan Capers. He got pitched in the wall pretty hard there, and I believe he was battling there with Billy White. You see on the replay there, and ooh, hard hit for him in turn number 4, and he popped Brian Lowhead's right front fender as well. So both of those cars can be significantly damaged. Alan Capers absolutely having a dismal second half of this race. Just has not been able to get up where he was at after he started on the pole for tonight, or for this half of the race. So he's got to be pretty hot in that car right now. I probably would be myself.
Yeah, Alan's had a super fast car all night. I know when I was out there, I was chasing him for most of the time unless something happened, and then we would kind of carve our way through the field together. So just trying to maybe do a little bit too much, maybe just unlucky situations. I can't really tell from back there, but I don't really have the broadcast feed, so I'm kind of just on my own out here, but that is okay. We are getting a good view of the race, and yeah, he's just trying to make some moves and just trying to work his way back up. But sometimes when you get put behind, especially at a track like this, a short track where it's a little bit hard to pass, it can really hurt your race as a whole, and putting it behind.
Yeah, AJ, you probably know this track is one that absolutely rewards not overdriving it. So if you put yourself in a position to where you maybe have to, that's where you can put yourself in those situations where you might potentially get yourself in an accident, even if you're not really trying to. Of course, no one is trying to get in an accident, but just trying to really just make up spots. You know, you can can really put yourself in a bad position.
Yeah, and even just overdriving it from whatever position you're in, it seemed like Chris Roberge got the run on the inside, because Kevin may have just slightly overran it in 3 and 4 and left that inside open just because of it and washed up the track a little bit. And sometimes that's all you need, and Chris was able to take his car, even with a little bit of damage that he has, and was able to make the move there to take the lead, which could be a huge moment here when Green White Checkered 1 coming up.
Absolutely, and I know we've said this a few times up here in the booth. I am so glad. I'm not sure how you feel about it, AJ. You probably feel the same way, but I'm so glad, as a broadcaster and a racer myself, that we have this in iRacing finally. Of course, I joined in 2009, and so I waited 10 years for this to be on the sim. We were complaining about it every single month. It seemed like, come on, why don't we have Green White Checkers? Why don't we have them? And we finally do. And it's like the best feeling ever.
Yeah, Green White Checkers have kind of been a long way coming. You would think with how popular they are, especially in NASCAR and things like that, that it would have been something that probably doesn't take too much time to develop, that you think they could have updated sooner. But now that's finally here, and we don't have to worry about what they could have, would have, should have done. It's here, so we can enjoy it, and it's definitely enjoyable. We kind of have the option. We can pick however many we want, and 3's an appropriate number for Green White Checkers, and just got to get around and get that white flag. As I benefited a little bit at USA Lakeland, got the white flag shown as right before the caution came out, and once that flagman pulls out that white flag, he can't take it back per se. So that helped me a little bit there. But this one thing too that's been real interesting is just these drivers adapting to the K&N car after having done the truck for 2 or 3 seasons and kind of only been doing that, and then maybe throwing in the Xfinity car. This K&N car is a whole different kind of beast, just a little bit lower riding, still has that high horsepower, and definitely been interesting. And I think that's why you've seen so many different winners in this car, is because a lot of people are adapting to this car and doing well at it a little bit sooner than maybe you would think, as it wasn't really a popular car, so a lot of people are jumping on it here right away and getting it done.
Yeah, it's very cool to see, and it makes me feel old watching this car on the track, because I remember when this was the B car. When I joined iRacing, this was the B car, so cool to see it still out in use, definitely as the K&N car, and it's cool that we can put custom decals and stuff on it now. But pace car is off. Chris Roberge is your leader. Kevin Pascowicz on the outside line gets another fantastic restart, and we have a trouble in the back. Number 1 of Thomas Wise getting pitched around, but no caution out once again, so the battle for lead heating up pretty well. Kevin Pascowicz on the outside line, Chris Roberge on the preferred groove inside of him, and still some battling in the back with Kyle Zimmer. I believe he's trying to make a move on Nate Katillis, and contact from behind with Billy Wise, and Alan Capers takes advantage of that, gets by both of them.
This is the white flag.
Yeah, white flag is out, so this race is official now, and Chris Roberge has a significant lead over Kevin Pascowicz, about half a second. And I think he's sitting pretty right now. Doesn't really matter what happens behind him. All you have to do is one more clean end of the speedway, and that means get this car in on that yellow line early and get back to that throttle early as well. And off turn number 4, Chris Roberge comes home with the win here at the Rockingham Speedway in a pretty chaotic race that has 2 parts to it. And through everything, all the technical issues that we had with iRacing and with our broadcast, Chris Roberge comes home with the win, and he is I believe our first, second, third, fourth, fifth different winner of the K&N series. So very good to see that. This is the biggest track we go to in the K&N side of things, besides Daytona, which was our season opener. So, so might be some contact. There was some contact there with Nate Katillis and Fernando Matos. Maybe some bit of disagreement there. We'll have to go back and see what happened, but might just not be happy with the way he was driven in that 4 car. But either way, Chris Roberge doing some donuts here on the front stretch, giving the fans a bit of a show. Not having his teammate out here tonight to do donuts with him, but we will probably see some others join in. See Brian Lowhead there, backing his car into the wall. Greg Biffle style, make it fail inspection.
I believe the Katillis contact was just accidental from the looks of it. Probably no harsh feelings, maybe just a congratulations, because Fernando Matos is on the podium.
Absolutely, and we were talking about that number 4 of Katillis having those fresh tires. Fernando Matos did an incredible job with some defensive driving to keep that number 4 behind him, just putting his car where he needed to, where Nate Katillis did not need to. and did a good job of keeping that 4 behind him. So a good piece of driving there. Of course, not the win he wanted. He said during pre-race that he was going to be the winner of tonight's event, had a lot of confidence going into this event, but either way, a third place finish is good for his point situation, and just for he is a newer driver in the SimPossible Racing League, so just to get some seat time and get some confidence built up in him, and you know, always good to see that. But we will have some interviews for you guys shortly. We'll let these drivers get their thoughts collected, get cooled off a little bit, maybe go to the barbecue joint down the road and get some food because they're probably all hungry, and we'll be back with you pretty shortly. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Rockingham Studio. We've just concluded tonight's event after 125 or so laps. Not sure how that adds up with the 2 halves of the races we ran tonight. Christopher Burrs was able to take home the win, but before that, we're going to get some interviews for you shortly. I believe that I've caught up with, actually I don't believe, I know I have because I am me. I've caught up with Fernando Matos, the 3rd place finisher for tonight's event, and going to go ahead and get a quick word with him. All right, Fernando Matos, you got a copy?
Copy.
All right, man. Well, we heard you have a lot of confidence in the track tonight. Said you were going to come home and take the win. Of course, just a couple spots short of that, but did a good job tonight. A bit of issues on iRacing's end, so we really had 2 kind of halves to the race. But just kind of talk me through the race from your point of view.
Yeah, I really like this track. I guess it reminds me of the road course almost, the way you have to brake and make the corner apex. First I got involved with the incident, had to use the first repair, a lap down. Was able to get the lucky dog before the break, but it was not a good first half. Then second half, things went more smoothly and I had more confidence in the car.
Yeah, I think we saw that with at the end of the race. You had the 4 of Nate Catilla behind you on fresh tires, and you were doing a good piece of defensive driving from your point of view, or from your point to keep that car behind you. What was going through your mind when you saw that car behind you with the fresh tires, and did you think you were going to be able to hold him off?
Yeah, Nathan Cotilla is an aggressive driver, but I think I was having an edge on him on the restarts. So I knew that if I could get a good restart, I could hold him off. It was a good race, and I was happy I was able to hold him off.
All right, man. Well, next, or in 2 weeks, these Cannon cars head off to the Bristol Motor Speedway, a bit of a different track to this one. How are you looking forward to that one?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. It was my first podium here a couple months ago, so hey, let's see if we can keep the streak going, right?
Always good to go back place where you have your first podium or first win or first whatever you want to say. So definitely cool to hear that, Fernando. But thank you very much for talking with us as always. But before we let you go, as always as well, I'm going to give you a chance to get some shout outs. So let's hear them.
Thank you guys, everyone TV, for doing this for us. You guys do an amazing job, and everybody really enjoys the broadcast week in, week out, so thank you guys. Thank you to Jeff for putting this together. He puts a lot of work into this league, and it shows. It's a great league, so thank you to Jeff. And thank you for everybody watching. Make sure you like and subscribe to True White TV. It really helps these guys out. So thank you.
Appreciate the kind words, Fernando. Again, congrats on finishing third tonight. A very good result for a pretty chaotic race all around. But once again, thank you very much for talking with us, and we hope to talk to you again. I guess Wednesday. We have a race on Wednesday.
Yeah, so does Chicago. Thank you, Pete.
All right, that was your third place finisher, Nando Matos. We'll see. Fortunately, we don't have the 7 of Kevin Baskowitz, your second place driver, to get an interview. He decided he wanted to get some barbecue pretty early, and he left the track. But I believe that AJ Digby has caught up with your winner, Chris Roberge.
There, Fernando. Oops, sorry.
Hey Chris, this is AJ Digby as a Fallen 3 Wide TV booth. You got a copy?
Yes, I do.
So you looked like you had a really fast car there and was able to come away with the win. Tell us about your race.
Started in 4th place in the start off, and then I might as well just stay out as much as I can. The race is really well. Kevin was really hard to pass, and everybody else, but they all did awesome. My race was pretty good.
Said Kevin was pretty hard to pass at the end, and I noticed with 2-3 laps to go, you made a really good move down the inside. Any idea what happened there to be able to make that move?
After the caution or before?
Before you took the lead, before the green-white checkers.
Oh yeah. I was just saying, hope he doesn't go down, because I was trying to hold my line and he held his line, and I don't know how I got a good grip down below, because usually that's not a really good place to pass.
Yeah, it was a fantastic move. Get down underneath of them, or underneath of Kevin. Up next on the schedule in 2 weeks with the Cannon, we are at Bristol. Are you excited for Bristol?
Yes, I am.
Oh, good. You have any shout-outs? Anybody you want to thank for this race?
Yes, I do. I will thanks to 3Y TV for hosting this thing for us and putting on stream for us on YouTube. Thanks for Adjustment for hosting this and getting this whole program going. SimPossible. Thanks for Rooster Teeth from Carl's. Thanks for my wife for big, huge support for me. And thanks for everybody else.
Well, congrats, Chris. That is your race winner, Chris Roberge.
Thank you.
All right. Well, before I move on to Jeff, AJ, thoughts on your first interview?
Kind of interesting. You know, I've always wanted to do broadcasts. Me and some of my buddies had talked about trying to get into a little bit of broadcasting, but just big time commitment. But definitely something I could improve upon. so I apologize for some of that. But I definitely had fun up here in the booth. I guess you could say I came away with a Stage 1 win, but wrecked the car out before the end of Stage 2, so...
Hey man, rock on. I will say you did a lot better your first time than I did. We're not gonna talk about that. But speaking of first time, I got the man himself. I got the man, the man, and the man. Yes, Schmidt, you got a copy?
Yeah, what's up, Cameron? How you doing?
Pretty good, man. Rockingham's one of my favorite races, so I sure enjoyed this, even though it was about a two-parter. But that's all right. Never gonna fault that. iRacing decided it wants to not work. Not something that never happens. iRacing, wink, wink. But either way, what were your thoughts on this race?
Yeah, the pace car driver had a rough night last night. I think he was a bit hungover this morning. He definitely fell asleep in the pace car there, so we had to set up a new session. There was nothing that we could do to fix that issue without the pace car coming out. There's no way to give the green, so we had to set up that new session. There was a few issues with the new session as well. I'm sure AJ probably filled you in on that. So we're kind of going to call this one a wash for points. It was still fun and everything, but I don't think that we should use the points for this for the, towards the championship with the issues that it did have. So for now, we're just going to nix the points for this one and move on. Whether we replace it with another track, they'll be up in the air. We'll all figure that out as a group. But still a fun race. It was pretty awesome, other than the issues that we had. Guys doing an amazing job always. Sorry probably for not getting you guys the info that you needed when all that was going down. I was trying to figure things out myself there. It was pretty hectic, so my apologies on that. Other than that, just want to thank all the drivers. Thank you guys for broadcasting all the time. Everyone that watches on YouTube, thank you guys for the support. Thanks to the drivers' families that help them out and allow them to race. And yeah, if anyone knows of a driver that has a disability that would like to join us on track, just send them to SimPossibleRacing.com, have them fill out a driver sign-up form. Everyone have a great night. Thank you so much.
All right, Jeff. Well, thanks for those kind words. Always good to talk to you after these races, and it's hard when you're in that position of being the admin and having issues out of your control, kind of dictate how things go. But definitely a good job on tonight, just to get the second session up and have these guys be able to finish the race. But we'll get some results for you guys on the screen in just a moment. I believe we should have them, and just a minute here. Results. All right, finally got the results. And coming home with the win after tonight's two-parter, we got Chris Serberge making a fantastic move with just a few laps to go on the 7 of Kevin Basquich, who comes home in second. Fernando Matos coming home in third. Nate Catilla coming home in fourth. Alan Capers might have been the heartbreak story of the night. One of the fastest cars here, not able to have really the luck go his side in this second part of the race. And Billy Wise as well. Those two cars were both very fast and just not able to get the finishes they probably deserved. Brian Lowhead coming home in 7th. Johnny Berardi coming home in a fine 8th position. Kyle Zimmer had some issues there in the second part of the race and coming home in 9th. Thomas Wise coming home in 10th. Tom Johnson retired with 13 laps to go in the race, coming home in 11th. And AJ Digby, of course, he's in the booth. He retired after just 2 laps in tonight's event, having some bad luck go his way and not able to finish the race. Probably another heartbreak story as well, because he was the leader at the restart, but a couple drivers that did not take the start of the race or the restart. Tanner Sharp was not able to take the restart, and Dave Wilson did not take the initial start of the race. He did take a qualifying time, excuse me. So I believe that's all we got for you guys tonight. Give a quick shout out to SimTV for the cameras that allow us to show you all these good camera angles each and every week. Of course, without camera angles, we can't show you anything on screen, so very good for them on doing that. Thomas Morris for this nice graphics package that allows us to show you things like these graphics and the ticker and all that good stuff, all the little nice frilly elements to the broadcast. And I want to give a special shout out after all the issues we had with our end of the equation today. Give a special shout out to all of our viewers who watch each and every week. All the viewers and all the friends and family that come out to support us. We do appreciate the views so much. Whether you watch live or you watch the broadcast afterwards, it's very cool. It's the reason that we keep doing this, and really, without you, there would be no 3Y TV. So thank you all so much. And all the friends, family of the SimPossible Racing League, of course. You know, it's always cool to see that be a thing and everything. But, you know, I think that's all we got for you guys today. So we're going to go ahead and sign off on this broadcast. Hope you guys have a good night and stay awesome.